Hello friend, and welcome back to another unboxing and first impressions. And it's a strange one today. It's my £3 sim wheel. Yes, that's all it costs, £3 English. This is the Superdrive driving wheel SV200. This is advertised as being for PS4, Xbox One, PS3, PC and Switch. Down here we see it has 180 degrees of rotation, not good. Programmable buttons and 3 sensitivity modes, Arcade, Pro and Expert. But wait, I hear you cry, how did you get a £3 sim wheel? Well, it's kind of simple really. I found it on eBay because the seller did not want it. Even though it was new and still in its box, they didn't want it. They had a better wheel. Nobody else wanted it either, so I got it really cheap on the bids. So let's open up and find out just how awful this wheel is. Alright, let's open it up and see what we can see. All joking aside, videos like this are made possible by the fantastic Patreon who support the channel. So if you want to get involved, check out the links in the description down below. With my finger. There's a finger here somewhere. There's a finger. The links are down there somewhere. You can get involved. Come and join the Discord, have a chat. We'd love to meet you. Have you got one of these wheels? Do you use it? Is it a serious wheel for you? Let me know down below. Nobody's judging you. Here we go. We'll take this out of the box, throw the box out of the shot, and then see what we can see. Okay, here's the wheel. First of all, this thing is tiny. Oh my goodness, look at this. So tiny. And my hand can almost cover the wheel. So it looks tiny in my hand. I assume this is for a kid. There's also in a box some wires. I don't know what this is for exactly. This is type C. Maybe that was near by accident, and we'll find out later. We've got an instruction manual, which we'll find out what we need that wire for. It's out the way. We have some pedals. Get the pedals out. Here's the pedals. What's the connector? We've got one of those usual proprietary connectors. Pedals themselves are, well, they're on springs, let's just say that. They're quite strong springs, to be fair. Wheelbase itself, it's a fixed wheel, so you can't change that. We've got this D-pad here, which is horrible. We've got some buttons here, which click. You've got L1, L2, R1, R2. We do have shifters. I don't know if they're real shifters or not though, because they don't actually make a sound. I don't hear any switches. Surely they must be real. And we've got share options and home here. Mounting is done by suction cups. That's great. Who doesn't love a suction cup wheel? I don't. I'm going to set this up. Once we set it up, we'll see if it's any good. I don't have high hopes, but you never know. Okay, while setting up, I found, I don't know if you can see it on the video, we've got the main USB here, and we've got the port here for the pedals. In the middle here, we've actually got a USB port. And the purpose of that USB port is that you plug in a controller which is compatible with your system to bypass the hardware lock. So that's worrying, to say it's supposed to be officially licensed. Okay, we're just setting the wheel up in Windows. Oh, those do work, those paddle shifters do work. Can press them both at the same time, that's interesting. Call that a dual clutch. That works, these all work. L2 and R2 run the Z-axis, so L2 and R2 are your accelerators and brakes, same as the pedals. L1 and R1 are your shifters. Steering is steering, but everything does seem to work. Straight out the box. Pedals. The pedals are on one axis, so it's not a great wheel for drifting, I suppose. But let's take it for a drive. The suckers aren't great, in fact they're quite shallow. I find myself having to push down, but let's go for a little drive and see what we can do. Okay, so the wheel works straight out of the box, and the reason for it working straight out of the box is simply the fact that it emulates a controller. That's all we're doing here, and your left and right are simply the left and right on your left stick. The rest of the controls, such as the pedals for example, Well, they're your L2 and R2 if you're on a PlayStation, for example. So it's very much no frills. Of course, you're going to miss force feedback, but the spring is very strong on this wheel. This really is the most basic of all wheels possible. It couldn't be any more basic. Whee! This is going to hurt. Does that mean it's a bad wheel? Well, let's talk about its pros and cons. First of all, its pros. This wheel is cheap. It's cheap. It's easy to store because it's small. Yeah. It works. It's simple. One of the things you are going to find with this is that because it's emulating a controller, this is going to be one of those wheels which is going to be compatible with racing games that don't support wheel. The likes of, say, Hot Wheels Unleashed, for example. The cons is obviously going to be a bigger list, and the first major con is the suckers. The suckers just don't stick. I have a nice smooth table here and they're not sticking. Even though I've cleaned the surface, I've cleaned the suckers, it's not sticking. The D-pad's awful. I mean, it's functional, but it's awful. The buttons are okay, the buttons work. The buttons are functional, they don't feel like anything special. They've got a reasonable click to them, like you'd find in a cheap controller. Paddle shifters are quiet. There's no force feedback. There's no vibration. So this begs the question, who is this wheel for? It's not for a grown-up, just look at the size of it. It's teeny tiny. I think a teenager as well would probably want something a bit bigger and more robust than this. But for a child who wants to play, not a small child, but a pre-teen who's not quite ready for a big force feedback wheel, but has certainly graduated out of toys, this probably isn't a bad wheel. So you might not be able to get one on eBay for £3 like I did. That's very unlikely indeed. But what you can do is you can buy them new for around $49.99 in anywhere that sells toys, wheels. But would you really want one? You might not want one, but if you've got a child who wants to race, they might well want one. Do I regret buying it? Well, for the amount I paid, I don't regret showing this to you. Yeah, it is what it is, and it does what it does. So the Superdrive SV200. Will you be getting one? If you are getting one, let me know why down in the comments. And if you're not getting one, let me know what's put you off. I want to say a big thank you to Patreon who support the channel in the way that they do. And of course my Discord, who are always there kicking my butt. Until next time, be good to yourselves, be good to those around you. Bye bye for now.